life, what do you think God's teaching us that we will be able to take with us into the new normal?
You know, an interesting thing that we've said in the past before this started was relationships were key, that God really made us to do life together. And so that's really what I'm taking out of this, going back, making sure that we are continuing to build those relationships.
No, I think that there's a greater appreciation for family, for connection, for friends. And then the other thing is, it's like really, really pushing and pressing into God, because He is the one thing that is stable. And every time I start to freak out, I go, wow, God is still on the throne. He's still king. Unless He tells me I need to worry, I'm going to stick with don't worry.
I think it comes into having a greater value for those things that we took for granted. And I think church is one of those. My prayer is that we keep that with us, that we understand the gravity of how important those things are.
Not to completely shift gears, but I do want to ask this question. Have you ever been criticized for being single?
Being a woman who's single in the church, there's always this question like, you're single? How's that possible? Like, kind of like, well, what's wrong with you?
But yeah, absolutely. There's been almost to the level of persecution from individuals on why, and I'm not talking about my mom. You know, my mom stopped asking if I was going to get married, a while back, although I know she still prays for my future wife. So it stings a little sometimes, but I normally retort with things like Paul was single, Jesus was single. The reality is I'm just comfortable being single, and that's who I am.
Do you ever feel like you're missing out by being single?
It's difficult when you want to hang out and they can't. So you have to be okay with it.
There are those moments, especially hanging around, like your family and other families and you look and you see this dynamic that you realize you don't have, and then you go, man, I guess I may never experience that.
I don't know if that's the case. It's just different. It's like for people who have kids that don't have kids. I also really, really appreciate my freedom.
Do you think it impacts your relationship with God at all?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Paul talks about it. Like, you have time to devote to God. Like, during this whole experience, I have had hours upon hours just to spend with Him. There's no distractions.
Anything that you want to say to single adults out there?
Find your value in your identity in God. And then it doesn't really matter whether you're in a relationship or out, because you're always in a relationship. If you do that, then whatever your circumstances, whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you're in COVID lockdown, it doesn't really matter.
We'll add one thing. How are your relationships? Are you seeking those relationships? Are you making time? That is how you ease some of what is going on through COVID, through shelter-in-place, is are you reaching out to say, hey, listen, how are you doing? This is how I'm doing.